So this is a cracking little project because to the outside world, it looks just like a lovely card. However, it's a card which has a surprise bar of chocolate in it. And you can take this concept and make the box to fit anything. It might be a piece of jewellery you've made for somebody, it might be a little gift, whatever it is, but you've got the box at the back, and then we're going to do the lovely card to go on the front, okay? So I'm going to give you the sizes for a standard size bar of chocolate, but you'll get the idea of how you can adapt this, okay? So trick is you need 3 pieces of cardstock. So the base one, first one we're going to start with, is going to be to make the actual box. So to do it for a standard size bar of chocolate, I want you to cut this to 10 1/4 inches wide by 6 5/8 of an inch up here. So that's 10 1/4 by 6 5/8. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it on the scoring board, and we're going to score at 5/8 of an inch. So that's your 5th little notch, and 1 1/4 inches on all 4 sides, okay? So you're going to go 5/8 of an inch, which is just 1 past the 1/2 inch line, and then 1 1/4, which is 2 past the 1 inch line. And you do that on all 4 sides. Now if you notice, I'm using my pointy head embossing tool, technical term there, the one that comes with the Scoremaster, and I'm using quite a thick cardstock here so that I can get a nice crisp score line. Now, in the corners, what we're going to do is we're going to cut straight down and cut this corner out. Then we're going to cut straight down and cut this corner out so that we leave ourselves with a gluing flap. And then to make the gluing flap easily accessible, you're just going to cut off that score line with a couple of tiny little wedges. So let me show you that again on the other side. We're going to cut straight down here, and then also down this side. This cuts off, this cuts away, and then these here, we just need to cut the score lines off so that this is going to fold up really easily into the corner of your card. Now on the top, I'm going to do it slightly differently, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to come straight down, and when I say cut a sliver off, you are barely going to cut off that score line, tiny weeny sliver, okay? So you're cutting down the score line, this part comes away, and then this cuts out altogether, and then the same here, cut down that score line, and then cut the tiniest weeniest of slivers. If you cut this sliver too big, you'll be forever opening and closing the top of your box because your top of your box won't close neatly, okay? So on the top, it's very important that those slivers are very small, whereas on the bottom, it doesn't matter so much because we're going to be gluing that part, okay? So once we've done that, fold and burnish all of your crease lines. So you always fold away from yourself. So where you've scored on the top of the card, turn the card over, and then fold it away from itself. And then I'm using the side of the scoring tool to give a nice crisp burnish to the side of the card there. So nice and crisp on all 4 corners. And then these sides will fold in, and that's going to be my flap at the top. Now what I find is a tape pen is perfectly adequate for doing the corners like this. So if you notice, I'm putting plenty of tape on, folding that corner over so that we've got like a nice crisp fold line there. And then I just fold these back on themselves a little bit. I'm just going to pop a little bit of tape down in those corners because I'm going to fold this over. Now bear in mind, at the top we aren't gluing because that's going to form the top of our box where we just fold it in. Okay, so there's the 3 sides. Then you just want to stick a piece on the top. So I did say you needed 3 pieces of card. So for your other 2 pieces of card, if you notice, they're both the same length. So we're going to cut them to 7 3/4 of an inch high, and one is going to be 4 3/4, and the other one is going to be 4 1/8. So this one's 4 3/4, and this one's 4 1/8. Okay. So the shorter one is going to be exactly the right size to go on the front of our box like this. Now, when I want to stick like this, tacky glue is the best glue to use, because we definitely don't ever want this coming apart. And trust me, you use a bit of tacky glue, it's never ever going to come apart unless you physically tear it apart. So you can see that I'm going to take that, I'm going to lie this on and just manoeuvre that into place, make sure that's exactly as we need it. And then I'm just going to pop it to one side just to dry a little bit. Okay? Now, for the top one, I'm going to put a score line down the 5/8 of an inch piece. And burnish that score line both ways. So we're coming in from the top and then from the bottom. So it's nice and bendy, got pliability both ways. And then onto the box, if you look, this is going to go on the front like this. We're just going to fold that book hinge back a little bit of tacky glue on the side there, and hold that in place. It's just, and that tacky glue, the great thing about the tacky glue is it only takes a few minutes to dry, and it's because it tacks straight away in place. So there we go, you can see you've got that nicely in place. So a little bit of matting and layering. Little mini glue school in here. For my matting and layering, I'm using the all-purpose, because the all-purpose, it doesn't ever wet or bend the card. So it's a completely different type of glue. Both made by Collal, both brilliant glues, but both very, very different purposes. Okay, and then once we've got that one, see, that tacky glue just needs a little bit longer to tack, so I'll get this stuck in place and then we'll pop that in place. So this one's going to go on the front here, just a little bit matted and layered. I might give that a tiny little bit more tacky glue, and then before I pop it onto place, I've just got a nice, and what I've done is I've used the reverse of one of my card pads. So I've got the nice bright pattern on the front, and I've got the slightly more subtle one on the inside, and then that again just sticks on the edge, and it just needs a little bit of time to hold it in place. And then it's as simple as I've just done a little topper to go on the front, and I like to raise them up with a foam pad because I do think it gives it that little bit of dimension. So grateful to have a friend like you who was going to be absolutely thrilled to receive a lovely bar of chocolate. And then what you'll find is, because we only cut the tiniest sliver off those, this will manoeuvre into place and won't keep coming undone. So that box is going to stay shut until you want it to be open. That's the beauty of this. That box will close in there until you want it open. And that's going to give me a perfect finish with that card on the front and the bar of chocolate inside.